Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban. I'm also the noob. In Izubu Juban, the people are defended by two separate yet equally important characters. Usagi, who fights for love and justice, and Chibiusa, who wants to bone her dad. These are their stories.
Oh my god! We're a couple of magical people ready to Moon Crisis make up this episode. Wow. Today we are talking about episode number 132, Oni Ai no Futari, Usagi to Mamoru no Ai in Japanese. The Perfect Couple, Usagi and Mamoru's Love, the English translation, and the English title, Perfect Couple.
Perfect couple, eh?
We didn't try too hard on this one.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about it.
All right.
If we have time, because, geez, there's a lot we're going to talk about today. There's a lot we're going to talk about today, but let's not give it away. Let's talk instead about what people are talking, that is, saying about us.
Sounds good.
We got a couple iTunes reviews.
Yay!
Amazing.
Thank you for your iTunes reviews.
So much, people. That's what we love to see, and we love hearing what you think we're up to. Let's look at them here. They're on iTunes, like I said. 2 5-star reviews. First 5-star review by a user named Hershey Goddess. The title is, It's a Noob Review. Fair enough. And the review says, I absolutely love the podcast. I do a lot of driving for work, and I just started watching Sailor Moon within the last few months. I live for podcasts that go over shows I've seen. That way I can visually see the content in my mind that they're talking about. I knew this show would be exactly what I would love. Keeps me going on my long drives, makes me laugh with the banter, and I love listening to this duo talk about life, anime, and all our favorite shows. Thank you so much for everything y'all do.
That's awesome.
No y'all at the end there.
I love it.
Thank you so much. No y'alls where we live.
No.
That would kind of be right out.
No, but I had a good friend growing up who was originally from Oklahoma, and everything was y'all. So
I never picked up the y'all.
Yeah?
Well, I went to school and lived for a time in Missouri, and they like to think that they're from the South. So you'll hear y'alls. But
it's kind of like a divider state, like a split state.
It was literally critical race theory. It was literally a divider state.
I know, but I feel like part of Missouri is in the South and part of it's in the North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to call that the shallow South.
Yeah, okay.
And there's the deep South. It's the shallow South. But wherever you're from, Hershey Goddess, thank you so much for your review. Another 5-star review from user Tuxedo Mauve.
Oh.
Interesting. Titled, I'm watching along with them, and it's great. The review says, as a newcomer to Sailor Moon, it's fun to watch an episode and then listen to this podcast. Their fun conversations and insights really add to my watch experience from one Sailor Noob to another. Keep up the good work.
That's awesome. Well, I just wanted to thank both of you who wrote us 2 wonderful 5-star reviews on iTunes. Like Cal said, we really appreciate it. It gives us positive feedback, lets us know what you think we're doing on the show.
Yeah.
And gives us the energy and the juice to keep on going.
Yeah, it's good to hear, too, that it works in that way as a companion. I mean, obviously, there's a noob and there's an expert. That's how we do it.
Right.
But to know that, we've talked to a lot of fans who are longtime fans of Sailor Noob, and they, appreciate the show. But to know that people who are just watching the show for the first time can then listen to an episode, and that's not the only way that it's meant to be consumed, but that is a chief way that we expect it to be consumed.
Absolutely.
And so it's good to know that that's working out like that.
Yeah, it's great to know that what your intention is, it's coming right back. You know what I
wonder
mean?
if the intentions of the people who made this episode today were realized in the work that was produced.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know we talked about it. We've talked about it, and we'll continue talking about it probably the rest of the season. But
thank you for listening, everybody who will now stop watching or listening to our show, because maybe they'll stop watching Sailor Moon because, jeez, it's getting weird.
Well, it's
getting really weird.
I don't know why the animators decide to make all the changes that they did for this season from the manga when they don't really work and they're creepy. And
specifically the visual changes?
a lot of the way that, the trio attacks people and stuff like that. Like,
Oh, right.
And like just how the trio acts.
Well, that is outside of the scope. Well, clearly nothing's outside of the scope of this show. Have you heard the previous 131 episodes?
Right.
But maybe that's outside of what we do on a specific episode. But perhaps in another format, in a shore leave, or in some later, edition of the podcast, we can talk about the specific writers, directors of each season, and some of the creative choices, because you and I both know, and we have bemoaned the fact that as a kid's cartoon for kids, like a lot of things, it was kind of disposable. Even though it's become this like media juggernaut, it's sort of like, we made that, now we're going to make something else. Mm-hmm. And so they don't hold on to things, and they don't like keep records of stuff, and people don't talk about that dumb kids cartoon that they did. But there must be some kind of retrospective. There must be interviews with people. Who knows? Maybe we could create them. Who on this show speaks fluent English and would want to, we'd never catch Naoko Takeuchi. She's too fast.
Yeah, I know, right?
Beep, beep, see you later. We never catch her.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, maybe we could talk to some people. Maybe we could get some of that information, because if this is a separate like head writer, a separate sort of showrunner or executive producer, I would understand that, because the show is quite different than it's been in the past.
Well, and
I'm not sure it's a good thing.
I don't think that I've
expressed that before.
But I haven't dug very far in the subject so far. But one thing I saw on Tuxedo and Mask was like, it was an article that was just like, he found a couple of things here and there, but it was nothing conclusive. This is something that a lot of fans have asked about. Like, why is it so different?
Right, but Tuxedo, and we've unfortunately talked about Tuxedo Unmasked a lot. Know. He does really good work.
He does.
To the point where we don't have to do a lot of that work. It would just be going over it again. But he never found Saban Moon. Somebody else did that.
No, I know.
And so, I don't know. Like, I don't want to set an unattainable goal for us, but maybe that's something that we could, do in the future.
Okay.
Because I need answers.
I
need answers to this.
It really,
I need to know what happened.
It keeps me up at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Brings me nightmares. Anyways,
speaking of nightmares.
Yeah, you want to get right into this episode?
Let's talk about what happens in this episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
And like most episodes, not like really any episodes at all, we start off with a pair of people that we don't know.
Yeah.
I wish we'd known each other. This is a little awkward.
A man and a woman are walking down the street in Tokyo, and the man says, "So this is the first time that you're going to his place, right, Saori?" Mm-hmm. That's how you say that, right?
Yeah, Saori, yep.
It's probably going to be messy. And the woman says, "Why do you think that, Kobayashi?" And he says, "Guys have really messy rooms." And she says, "So I guess you've got a messy room, huh?" That's all I could salvage.
One for Saori.
That's all I could salvage from that conversation. It was pretty opaque. Like, I guess it was a joke. That was the joke.
I think she zinged him.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But we'll never know until we find, beep, beep, you can't catch me.
But she's not responsible for this.
And that's true. And then he says, did he really call his girlfriend over? Like, I don't know if they're like communicating in medias res information that, we would have seen if there was a previous scene.
Maybe.
Also, is that a joke like he called his girlfriend over so she would clean? Guys who have girlfriends, they clean the place up or something?
Oh,
Or is this a double date? The thing is, this is packed with potential.
It is. I don't know that he's saying...
Unfortunately, you'll see where we end up.
Yeah, I know. I don't know that he's saying like that she would clean, or... I don't know if that's what he's getting at.
Well, we cut to a condo and we see that the messy guy in question is Mamoru. Mm-hmm. Except he's not messy.
No, he's not.
Just his relationship is.
Yeah.
As the pair wait in his living room, she points out that the place is pretty neat. And the guy says, "I've lost faith in him." Again, I don't understand what's going on. Mamoru comes in with tea to go with the cakes that they brought, which is a very Japanese thing. Bring something over.
Yes.
And he says, "What are you guys talking about?" And Kobayashi says, "Oh, nothing." And Mamo says, "You're a weird guy." We get a look around the apartment and we see that Mamoru has a lot of space stuff. I don't think we ever saw this before. He's got a big print of a shot of space. He's got a globe of the moon. He's got like an old-timey like map of the moon. And he's got framed pictures of space stuff, including a picture of what looks like the monolith from 2001.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I mean, it makes sense. Like, he's in love with Sailor Moon. They had a, love affair on the moon,
but
like in a past life.
2001 is space.
That's weird.
Is that canon?
I think that's probably.
Is the monolith connected to the Moon Kingdom? That makes
we need to look
more
into this.
and less sense at the same time.
Yeah.
Dear Mamo, stay cool, monolith. He's also got a little tuxedo mask statue, which I thought was funny.
Loved that. Yeah.
Mamo asks, Saori, did you finish that report? And she says that she did. Well, Koba looks over Mamo's stuff, and he looks suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know he knew the monolith. I love that guy's work. It's always uplifting less evolved forms of life. Mamo's like, hey, you want to meet the monolith? I can introduce you. No. But Koba's like, where are the pictures of your girlfriend? And Mamo says, oh, yeah, I guess I should put them up. And Koba's like, you guess? Is she really coming over today? This girlfriend of yours? I guess he seems skeptical.
He seems skeptical and like because maybe they've never met her before or something.
No, they've definitely never met her.
Yeah,
And Mamo says, she'll be here soon. And then the doorbell rings. And rings and rings and rings and rings.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil, he says. Which, really? It's your girlfriend.
I know. Like, let's not, Mama.
Although, to be fair. And Mamoru goes to answer the door, and Saori says, girlfriend, you're being a little obvious. What is this? Are they going to ask them to swing? Is that what this is?
No.
Is the Kirokuro Mirror going to be key parties in Japan?
I don't.
What's the vibe here?
It's confusing.
Koba says, this is for you, Saori. See?
What is for you?
He's doing it for her.
Oh, okay.
Look, he's talked her into this, and this. All right, I'm assuming something
like a
more
key
adult
party?
than what's going on
With Usagi? Are you serious?
This will be good for us.
Oh
I swear.
God. Oh my God.
She says, "What do you mean it's for me?" The show's called Sailor Moon, by the way. And he says, "On the days that you see Chiba, you wear lipstick. Bullseye." Oh no, is there another Amazon called Bullseye?
Oh, I don't think so.
He's got horns on his head. Saori says, "Are you a pretty mean guy?" I still don't know what's going on.
What?
It's a weird insult, but I guess it hits home because he's like, no. Great dynamic these two have.
What?
We hear, oh, Mamo-chan, in stereo, and Mamoru comes in with both Usagi and Chibi grabbing onto his arms and rubbing up against him. And at this point, Saori and Kobayashi must be thinking that trying PolyFinda was a mistake. Why is this happening to us? What's wrong with this show?
I don't know.
I had to incognito mode to research that joke, by the way. So thanks, show. Not having that in my Google history.
Oh my gosh.
Chibi says, "Let go. He's my Mamo-chan." And Usagi says, "Oh, sure. Oh, sure. You're gonna take Mamo. You take Mamo for yourself. Come on." Mamoru sits on the couch with Chibi on his lap, and Usagi says, Hey, no, that's my spot. What is this, the old boy anime?
I don't know. It's
You got to think about that one for a second.
Yeah, you do.
And Old Boy was a manga. Chibi says, "I'm not going to move." And Usagi says, "I'm not bringing you here anymore." And Chibi says, "I always come by myself." Oh, you're a nasty girl. What is this, the Three's Company anime?
Whoa, what? Oh my gosh.
It feels like, speaking of Three's Company, it feels like there's potential for a comedy of misunderstanding here.
Yes.
Which feels like what they're going for, because I have no clue what else could be happening here. And I feel like my comedy instincts are, the needle is just moving all over the compass. Mm-hmm. Like they could be doing like a raunchy Ranma 1/2 bit, with this sort of thing.
Which doesn't work for this show.
This is an anime
period.
for little girls? Yeah. So I don't know about that. Anyway, Saori and Koba look like they're thinking about what gangs they're going to join in prison. And Usagi says, "Hey, sorry for making such a scene. Who's first?" No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Mamoru says, these are all sex jokes.
I know they are.
Mamoru says, "This is Saori, my college friend, and Kobayashi, an underclassman. This is Usagi and Chiba." And Koba and Saori were halfway through picking their first prison tats, but they're immediately relieved. Koba looks like he's still worried that Chris Hansen's going to be delivering a pizza later, so he says, so your girlfriend is... See?
Yeah.
I'm not imagining it.
No, I know.
This joke is... They're really joking about this.
Yeah.
Usagi says, I'm Mamo-chan... I mean, Mamoru's girl... Look! And Chibi pops up into frame, and she's giving the peace sign. But both of her fingers go up Usagi's nose. And she says, I'm the real girlfriend.
I know.
Which, they're still doing this tasteless bit.
I'm kind of done with it.
But that's
honestly.
A classic Chibi.
It is a classic
That's
Chibi.
classic Chibi.
Yeah.
They proceed to basically break chairs over each other's heads like Homer and Bart.
Basically.
It's a pretty standard stunt, Homer.
And we are nowhere near the plot yet.
Nope.
Saori starts laughing, having been driven mad by a vision of getting stabbed in the yard for drinking her cellmate's toilet umeshu. And Mamoru says, enough! And Usagi and Chibi stop fighting. Saori says, sorry, you have very cute girlfriends. It's their bit! It's not me! I swear it's not me! They're doing it!
Well, I just take it to be like that Saori and Kobayashi like don't believe that either of these two are his girlfriend.
But what they're trying to set up is that they don't really think that Mamo's serious about the girlfriend they've heard about, which is what, spoilers, makes Saori think that she's got a shot later.
Yes.
But instead of establishing that, they're doing this whole like, oh, who's the mother and who's the daughter, like skin care ad thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's what are you doing?
It's very confusing. Yeah.
Anyway, she offers the girls some cake, and Koba says, girlfriends. Yes, I see. And he decides it's worth it. And his uncle is a judge anyway. So.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, all right. No more of those jokes. We're back on track.
For now.
Koba says, how old are you, Usagi? I swear to God, it's not me. I swear it's them. It's this show.
It is.
Usagi says,
you're not making it up.
Sure, I'll have more. And he says, I'm asking about your age.
That's what I said. Third base.
And she says, I'm 15 and in my prime.
It's gross.
And in this shot, she's got cake all over her face. I give up. I tried. I try to tell edgy jokes and poke fun, but where you're going, show, I can't follow.
Don't go where I can't follow.
Come back, show.
Mr.
Where
Frodo.
are you going?
If I tell this joke, I'll be farther from taste than I've ever been. Anyway, he says, 15, a good age. I know.
Oh my God.
Your love and dreams are ahead of you. And I love that this is both absurd and kind of poignant. It's funny that an 18-year-old is like, youth.
It is.
But at the same time, he's staring down midterm essays and the cafeteria being closed on Sunday nights. And so there's a lot of difference between like 15 and 18.
Absolutely.
Or so the judge told me. See? See?
I walked right into that.
Mr. Frodo.
One. Yeah.
There's a fun music bed under all of this. And Usagi says, I'm perfectly fine with Mamo in terms of love. And the soundtrack stops. And everybody laughs. No clue.
I got nothing.
No clue.
It
might be
what that
a
means.
continuation of their Three's Company bit, where the way that she says it means like I'm getting all the love I can handle from him, or something, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like inappropriate because everybody's like,
everything pauses.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Or does it mean the only other thing I can think of is that like she's saying, well, I got all my love from him, and they're like they still don't believe that she's like his girlfriend, so they think it's hilarious that she's joking.
Did he buy these women? Like, you know what I'm saying? Did he just like pay these people to come in and pretend that? Obviously, there's some connection.
Well, like, I think they think
Who is this pink-haired demon?
I know. I think they think that, like, he's just, like, looking out for them or, there's no romantic relationship whatsoever.
These girls are in my stable.
I don't know.
What the hell?
Okay, I'm not explaining it well, but, like they're his cousins or something like that, but they have crushes on him.
They are asking no questions.
No.
They learned their lesson the hard way. But Chibi says, Miss Saori, what is your relationship to Mamo-chan? And the music stops again. And Saori says, we've been in the same class since high school. But Chibi's not buying it.
I know.
Mamoru says, I could never match you in terms of academics. Saori is planning to be a police officer when she graduates. Boo! Boo! Chibi says, wow, pass the maple bacon donut? I don't know how the police force works in Japan, but I don't think academics is on the top of the recruiting form for U.S. cops.
I thought that was very strange.
Maybe we'll find out later.
Ma'am, you know why I'm standing here?
You got all C's in high school?
The plot has arrived, and I hate it. Koba says she wants to be the first female police commissioner in Japan. All right. And Saori says, don't make fun of me. Oh, great. She's insecure and bad-tempered. Get her a badge and a gun ASAP. Usagi says, a police commissioner. Yes. Yes. How noble. I'd like to be that. And Chibi just has this 1,000-yard stare on her face.
I know.
It's really funny. And a 45 down the back of her waistband.
Well, I feel like she's still glaring at Saori like this entire time as this conversation has been going on. Yeah.
Chibi says, I think he knows a little too much for being just classmates. Detective Chibi's on the job.
I know.
Sushi. That's what my future mom called me. Overpriced with a short shelf life. The would-be flatfoot and the pencil-necked gunsel sitting across from me may have swallowed this line of malarkey, and I knew that something was hinky between this 2 o'clock beauty queen and my butter and egg man. Thank you.
That was amazing.
We cut to the neon bar where the Amazon trio are looking at a picture of Saori.
Yeah.
And Fisheye says,
Imagine that.
A good student? Yeah, a new character? A good student, a strong sense of justice, a real leader type. This person's going to be a cop?
I know.
Tiger says, I know the type that prepares for classes and reviews what they learned. Those that listen closely to what adults say. Ones the teachers favor over the others. And Hawkeye says, yeah, narcs. What is this, propaganda? What is going on? Who wrote this?
I don't know.
It just comes in like a different voice comes in, dubbed over. I think you should stay in school, kids. Tiger says, this type is clueless when it comes to romance. Tiger's been picked up for soliciting, I'm guessing.
I think so.
Hawkeye says, despite this, you think she'll fall for you? And Tiger says, it's work. 100% relatable. No, don't make me like you, bad guy. And he kisses the picture. Meanwhile, at Parappa the Rapper, fancy goods.
We'll talk about
Kick,
it.
Punch. It's all in the mind. Usagi is going crazy for some cute stuffed animals. She's got a green bucktooth hippo and a pink bucktooth horse. But you can only buy one.
Oh, decisions.
Yes, these adult decisions.
Paralyzing decisions.
She asks Chibi which one she should get, but Chibi says, wise up, you silly twist. Aren't you worried your palooka is giving the business to that Skid Row Shiba? No, she says, don't you ever wonder if the way you're living is all right? If you can really be happy living as you do now? And Usagi says, I told you. I can't decide between these stuffed animals.
I know.
Chibi just starts walking out, but she turns around and gives us a... Objection! She says, I don't even think that they're cute. And she
They're
leaves.
not.
Usagi says, you don't understand this highbrow hobby. And she has a horse face as she says, oh, what's gotten into her? Oh my God. At the park, where it is 23.1 Celsius. That's what the sign says.
That's important.
Saori is waiting. She's probably writing down license plate numbers.
Oh my God.
And Tiger's Eye is there too. And he says, there's the goody two-shoes, sucker. It's going to be hard for me to pick a winner here.
Yeah, I know.
He approaches Saori and says in English, excuse me. He's in a red suit with a green shirt and big Harry Potter glasses.
Uh-huh.
And he says, what time is it now? And she answers in English, it's 5:30.
Uh-huh.
And he says in Japanese, oh, it's already so late. I was supposed to meet with my guide at 5 o'clock. Without my guide, I can't even go to the restaurant. This is not.
He says in Japanese.
Yeah, this doesn't work at all.
Like, why would you say it in fluent Japanese?
I don't
that
know.
Part. I was so confused by
Baka,
that.
yeah.
I know. Continue the ruse, man.
He says, what's your name? You're beautiful, splendid, wonderful, the best. Please have dinner with me. And she says, well, I'm waiting for someone. And he says, no! Oh my God! Then Mamoru shows up like, yo! And she's like, oh, he's here, bye!
Yeah.
And they walk off. As Tiger watches them go, Hawkeye and Fish Person show up to laugh at him. Tiger says, well, it was different if she's got a man. And they're like, I don't know, that was pretty suspicious. And Tiger says, very well, then I'll have her by force. Okay, I know whose side I'm on now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, don't make me like the cop.
Yeah.
We cut to Mamoru talking with Usagi, and he says, "We need to break up. I'm in love with Saori." And we see Saori there, who, it has to be said, is very small.
Yes.
I'm not saying that like a short person can't be a cop, but she's like Holly Hunter small. But Holly Hunter was a cop in Raising Arizona.
That is true.
So you got that.
A little bit fierce.
Yeah.
Give me that baby, you warthog from hell!
And I think she also, the way she comports herself is very feminine and soft, whereas Usagi's just like,
Plus, like,
"Whoa," and all over the place.
A
and
gun
stuff
makes
like
you
that.
as tall as you want.
Oh my God.
I guess they don't have guns in Japan. White gloves make you as tall as you want. So maybe she can get white stilts too. Usagi says, "Mamoru, no." And Mamoru says, "I love her this much." And he's crushed her into him and he's like petting her head like a dog.
So weird.
Saying, "See? See?" He says, "We're leaving. Tell Chibiusa to take care." And Usagi says, "Wait, if I don't marry you, Mamo, Chibiusa will never be born." Which, well, not 100% accurate. Marriage doesn't have to come into it.
Well, that's true.
It is a good point, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real X-Men thing. Uh-oh, comic detour.
Woo-woo.
Think about Scott Summers and Jean Grey
Mm-hmm.
and their children, Rachel Summers and Nathan Christopher Summers.
Mm-hmm.
Both children who came back in time from the future and then wonder if they will... Actually, I don't think Cable never really worried about that, but Rachel Summers, Phoenix,
Yes.
did worry when she came back from the alternate timeline in which she lived that if she stayed on the X-Men, you know, maybe a butterfly effect would happen, that her parents would never have her.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had Nathan, although he got infected with a techno-organic virus and had to be sent to the future. Don't worry about it. But when they had him, they were like, "Oh, our pride and joy." And she was like, "Wait, I don't have a brother. This is it. I did it. I erased my own existence."
Oh my God.
Now, obviously, she didn't because she's still there. And I don't know. I can't remember if they ever ended up having her later. But, you know, wibbly wobbly.
Right.
Comics are weird.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter. That happens in comics all the time. And comic shows. Think about Jon Stewart and Shira in Justice League Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
And then meeting
Yes.
Warhawk, Rex Stewart, when they went to
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
And then they're not even together at that point. And they come home and he's like, "Does this mean we have to be together?" And she's like, I don't know.
But I wanted them to be together still. So I was
I'm
like,
going to stay with Vixen.
And I was
She's
like,
a supermodel.
I know. So I was like, yes, it means you have to be together, John. Yes.
Yeah. Well, headcanon. They definitely got together.
Yeah, headcanon.
Eventually. Speaking of comics, this is not a dream, not an imaginary story. It's just an idle imagining, I guess. Because unless Chibi was asleep, Chibi's in public.
I think she's like daydreaming this scenario.
And suddenly she sits up like, foosball practice.
Yes.
Could this be the biggest crisis hitting me, Chibiusa? And she runs somewhere, but before she can get there, she sees Mamoru and Saori walking together. No! She recovers quickly, however, and Detective Chibi is back on the case. This tomato isn't Kaipen, my fella. She hides behind a wall, and on the other side of it is Kobayashi.
Yes.
Oh boy, these two weirdos have a lot to talk about.
Oh my God.
Maybe they could get into an addicted to love situation.
What is Addicted to Love?
Speaking of weird 90s movies.
Oh my God.
Addicted to Love. Matthew Broderick is an astronomer,
Okay.
and every 12 p.m. or whatever, he turns he's an astronomer in New York or in the city, doesn't make any sense.
All right.
But he turns the telescope onto his apartment so he can see his wife and she'll wave at him, or the girlfriend, wife, whatever, right? But then one day he sees her banging Checky Cario. Yes, romantic lead, Checky Cario.
Oh, okay.
And then she tells him, "It's over. I don't want to be around you." So he decides to stalk her. All right, 90s movies. She moves away. He moves to where she lives, and he lives in a loft apartment across the way, and he invents his own like homemade telescope in order to spy on her. And he recruits Meg Ryan to help him do it. And of course, those two end up falling in love.
That is really weird and creepy.
90s movies.
Um,
You got a problem. You got a
what
problem.
in the world?
You need to talk to somebody.
Who is like, yes, this is a great idea for a romantic comedy. It's
America's
wacky.
Sweethearts, Matthew Broderick and Meg Ryan.
Yeah, stalking
this is like
people
an edgy
together.
Meg Ryan. She wears like combat boots. She's got spiky hair. That's like half of Meg Ryan's roles, but still. It's like, look at him. This is a wild child.
She's not like other girls.
No. Saori and Mamoru are walking, and she's asking him to go shopping with her for thin blue line Punisher gear, probably.
Oh my gosh.
And he says, are you shopping for some guy? Behind them, Koba and Chibi have gone full addicted to love as they are following them.
Yep.
And Koba says, well, they're a pretty couple. And Chibi's just looking at him like, this is my life now. Listening to incels like this. This is what I have to do. He says, I still think I would have had a chance. And Chibi's like, go to her.
I know.
Do it. I'll cheer you on. Fight. Kobayashi, fight.
Yes.
Back at Parappa the Rapper, our hero, Usagi, still can't choose between the hippo and the horse.
Oh my God. I'm just like, doesn't it feel like they've totally like rolled back all of the growth that she has gone through?
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that later,
All
or
right.
maybe in about 30 seconds. Hippo means horse in Latin, by the way, but that's not going to help her. Chibi runs in like, hey, that kitten is trying to swindle your sheik with her walking sticks. That girl is stealing Mamo. And Usagi's like, what? Who? And Chibi says, sorry, idiot. The difference between you and her is like the moon and a turtle. You're the turtle. It's conceited to think that Mamo's love will never change. Saori is smarter, more mature, sexier, and looks intelligent. Even I think it would be better if she was my mother. If you don't end up with Mamo, I'll never be born. And Usagi's like, oh, Ricky, don't hate me, Mamo. And Chibi says, that's better. Don't you think that you should act more mature? And Usagi's like, nope, psych. I would never doubt Mamo's love for me. You just don't get it, do you? The real problem is hippo or horse.
God.
Chibi just grabs her and drags her out of the store.
Thank God.
At the park, Mamoru and Saori are sitting, and he says, is it somebody that I know that you bought that tie for? I can't imagine the type of guy that you'd fall for. And she says, oh, really? And she's kind of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And Mamoru, big dumb lug that he is,
Yep.
is like, what'd I say? And she says, isn't it strange? And he says, what, the tie? Good one. I didn't write that. That's good. That's their joke.
So dense sometimes.
That's good.
Like when he made Usagi some hot chocolate when she's like, ooh, I'm cold.
Yeah, right. She says, well, someone like me, excuse me, what time is it now? Tiger's back.
Thank God, excuse me is back.
Saori says, but before she can answer, he says, you are my target. This is what they're doing. They're doing this.
I know.
And he changes into his circus togs. 1, 2, 3, and she's on the board, and her mirror's out. Mamoru moves to intervene, but he's whipped to the ground by Tiger. Now Mamoru's in a Peter Parker situation.
Oh my God, I know.
He can't transform.
No.
He has to just be Mamoru.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger throws 1,000,000 knives.
I know.
Which is a power he has.
News.
And they pin Mamoru to the steps that he's on. That's cool. It's circus-themed attack. It's like
Yeah.
a knife thrower thing, like that. Saori says, who are you? This is assault. If you stop now, it's just a misdemeanor. Tiger walks to her like, yeah, give me a dream. And he sticks his head in her mirror. Chibi and Usagi arrive to see this, and they moon crisis makeup transform. Tiger pulls his head out and he says, well, he's not here, but there's a lot of justice in there. We hear, hold it right there. I can't forgive you for putting innocent women through strange pain. For love and justice, I, Sailor Moon, and Sailor Chibi Moon will punish you. Come here, my lemur, says Tiger. And out of his shadow, inflates Balloon Girl Puko.
Yeah.
A giant green anthropomorphic balloon.
Mm-hmm.
She starts flying around the park.
Yes.
And she slams into Chibi, pinning her to the ground. Tiger says, take care of them, and disappears through a ring of fire. Saori drops to the ground, and Puko says, she's not beautiful. I guess she's referring to Saori in this case.
I think she's talking about Chibi. That's what I thought.
Oh, like Chibi's not... I only want to crush beautiful people. Because she crushes Chibi, and then she sees her, and she's like, says to somebody, she's not beautiful. And then she gets up to go and crush Saori. She flies through the air. But just before she lands on her, she says Mamoru.
Well, yeah.
And she's like, she likes what he sees.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I think I'll go after him. And just before she lands on him, boom! Sailor Moon throws herself over Mamoru, catching Puko. Mamoru says, get out of here! But Sailor Moon holds the lemur tight. Puko says, you're using your body as a shield? Beautiful! How beautiful!
I know.
And Sailor Moon's like, because the balloon is smothering her.
Yes!
Mamoru keeps struggling, but Puko says, it's okay. Right after I kill her, I'll kill you too.
I know.
She lifts up, and she's grasping Usagi tightly to her. No air. And Usagi eventually stops struggling and goes limp. Mamoru screams, Usako! And Saori, hearing this, realizes the affection that he has for her and that she has no chance. Mm-hmm. Also, way to go, Serpico. You're just lying there.
I know.
You're conscious. Get up!
And then also, way to go, like, revealing her secret identity.
Well, whatever.
I know. They're not even trying at this point.
Yeah, now the cops know who Usagi is.
Oh, no.
Gonna show up at Ding Dong, Sakino house. Oh, that could be. Oh, did Dad come home finally? Oh, no, it's the cops. Mamoru says, "Argh!" That's a quote. And he tears himself out of his pin jacket. He grabs one of the knives and stabs Puko in the side.
Finally!
Now I really don't know whose side I'm on. Puko immediately deflates and flies away. Mamoru catches Usagi. She says, no, I'm okay. Puko was down, but not out. Now she's a woman-shaped balloon with a hole in her side.
Yes.
Women first, monsters second.
Of course, I know.
She says, sheesh, what are you doing to me? She tapes up her side. Sailor Moon says, now Chibi Moon. And Chibi rings her carol on, and with a twinkle yell, she summons Pegasus. Pegasus says, whoa, I don't know who I'm rooting for in this one. As Puko uses a foot pump to try and reinflate herself. Mm-hmm. She's like, it's gotta go real fast. Come on. Sailor Moon uses Moon Gorgeous meditation on the squeaky lemur, who stages out and is no more. And Pegasus doesn't appear again. I guess he's just like, okay, well, later, I gotta go.
I think we're supposed to, like, I think he shows up every time.
Nobody, Saori's not like, oh, that's an unlicensed horse in the city, so we're gonna have to fine you.
I mean, I would have...
Hey, cab, see you later.
That would have been a nice touch. But yeah, he doesn't show up really at all. It's like he just shows up so Sailor Moon can do her big move. And then he powers out. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a team effort.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon rushes to Mamo to free him from the knives, and he says, awfully sexily, thank you. As Saori looks on like, oh, well, I'll just stalk him when I have a badge and a gun.
Oh, my God.
All is well. Later, at college, Saori is looking out over the quad, and Kobayashi shows up, and he says, how was yesterday, you sly dog? What's up with Chiba? Huh? You told him how you felt, right?
Uh-huh.
She just shakes her head no. She says, you want this tie? It'd be a waste to throw it away. And he says, what? Are you giving up? You who want to be the police commissioner? She gives him kind of a side glance, and he's like, I mean, I'm not making fun of anything. Don't shoot me. But she laughs and says, there's no way I can compete against the girl who's keeping the peace all over the earth. That's right, bitch! To protect and get served.
Oh my God.
And because it's Sailor Moon, we cut to an interlude where Usagi and Chibi are tugging back and forth over Mamoru. Mm-hmm. The question of Chibi's conception remains an open one. Saori would flunk out of the police academy when she failed her psyche evals. Kobayashi hung himself soon after with a brand new tie.
Oh my God!
Chibiusa would be booked on gun possession charges. Usagi Sakino never made a decision between horse and hippo. There are 200 stories in this anime series. This has been one of them.
That is amazing. Dun dun.
It's from the Naked City.
The Naked City?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were doing Law and Order again.
Starring James Franciscus.
Oh, James Franciscus. Wasn't he in The Finder of Lost Loves?
No, that's Tony Franciosa.
What a weird episode. And did you notice?
Yeah.
There's nothing to notice. no senshi. Nobody's in this thing.
You know,
so we gave up all the girls for this. It'll be in the rating.
What did we get? I know. I don't know if you've noticed this, but up until this episode, this season, I think there is maybe one exception to this. It's just been Sailor Moon and Chibi Moon fighting the lemur and the trio. Mm. And then we've only seen them transform. I don't think we've seen the other girls transform at all. It's really strange. And then the other girls, a lot of the times, aren't even like big parts of the episodes.
You've got Pegasus doesn't even talk half the time now. Are they saving money on like voice acting or something? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. This is a Tuxedo Unmasked thing, or this is when we open up our investigative journalism Sailor Moon podcast.
Part of his theory was that S was so serious and so dark, and they wanted to.
Is that true?
It was more mature, let me put it that way, than some of the previous
seasons.
Which is
5?
Yeah, I mean...
They're busting ghosts? What are you talking about?
I mean, like, Neptune and Uranus almost died and stuff
they
like that.
They almost died, and a little girl and her father were possessed by an extra-dimensional entity.
Yes.
But that's, like, standard Sailor Moon stuff.
I know, but for some reason, it seems like their direction in this season was
a little girl made a friend... and then basically lost that friend and kind of learned about like death and like the way life works.
I know.
But then also learned that sometimes you can be reincarnated as a baby. And then she had to go back to kindergarten after that?
I know.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
Miss Tsukino, we'd like to talk to you about this picture that Chibiusa drew. Just like a giant eye and a fire.
Yeah, but they like wanted to make this season more humorous.
Well, they're trying. Like the beginning of the show, fun, but the fun scene of a tense dinner.
Yeah,
it's a trope, right?
Yeah.
I think that it could have worked, but only if the stakes are set from the beginning. You can't just drop us into that. There's a reason that it's called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and not Why Is There a Black Guy at My Dinner Table?
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean? Like we have to know that these two forces are going to collide, and then we can enjoy like, that's the irony, the dramatic irony of like what they think is happening, right? That's
right.
We need anticipation going into it.
Yes.
It's meet the Fockers, not those Fockers were assholes.
Well, right.
We have to be going into it.
Yes.
To get it to work.
Yes.
You tried to milk him, didn't you, you sick son of a bitch?
Well, and then like you're saying, it's weird that we started with characters that we don't know at all.
Yeah. I don't think that one. See, they really spoiled us that one time when they were like, "What the hell?" Round 2, literally in the case of Bakshi, we'll have characters like come back, because they're possessed by the grand great Yoma or whatever.
The rainbow crystals.
Yeah, and so it was like, oh wow, cool, we're getting to see
that was
characters.
Awesome.
Yeah, again.
I really liked that.
But like that's not gonna happen with this.
No.
We'll never see this girl again. Who cares?
No,
Never, not even once.
Mm-mm.
So that's kind of sad. Something else is that I'm really conflicted. They keep pushing. So this season was supposed to be lighter, like you said.
I think.
But I think Tuxedo Unmasked needs to watch the show again because I think every one of these situations has like pushed us to some kind of very adult brink in some way, which I'm not against. But the weird constructions by which they do it and not signifying in some way to us that this is this isn't your little sister's Sailor Moon. Do you know what I mean? So like the first set of victims were all adult women. It was like literally horse lady trying to figure out what she's going to do with her life. Or it was Ikoku Mama. Yeah. And the thing with Naru, like the show gives us wins in that like Naru, who was literally seduced, although he turned out to be a nicer guy than we thought, but like by a villain before, is put in that situation again. And this time she's like, get away from me, screw you.
Yeah.
And I have a superhero friend that will kick your ass.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Usagi's Usagi's like blind confidence in Mamo in this. Chibi has a point in that I don't think that Usagi has thought it through. But I also don't think that a character has to be completely racked with insecurity and self-obsession to be a good character or to be in love. It's like, look, you little pink-haired bitchling, we've been through 3.5 years of people trying to kill us. I know that we're in love. Also, I had I'm looking at the proof that we're going to be together forever. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm a queen in the future. I know this is fine. Also, I'm 15 and I don't pay attention to this stuff. But like, I think that she can have it both ways. And I really that was my favorite moment in the episode. But I don't know if they know it's the best moment in the episode because they spend the rest of the time trying to assassinate her character.
I know.
Although, to be fair, that's a moving target as far as Usagi's character is concerned.
I agree, but it's like I just didn't like. Look, she's a lovable buffoon. Why do we have to have her?
Who breaks a butterfly on a wheel?
I know, but why do we have to have her obsess over these stupid, ugly stuffed animals this entire episode?
I thought you were going to say
it went on too long.
The relationship. She has obsessed over it in the past.
The relationship,
and I guess Chibi wasn't around for all that because she's trying to like get Usagi to realize this, and Usagi is both completely unaware of any danger in her life, but also has supreme confidence in her boyfriend because they have weathered so much, and I think that that's really great. Well, you know what tells me that they don't know what they've got on their hands, the writers of this show? They established the hippo and the horse choice, and it's not a metaphor for anything.
No.
You've got characters who are trying to choose between things in this episode, and then they've got her trying to choose between a hippo and a horse, and it doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-mm.
Not that, like, a children's anime cartoon has to have really deep writing, but Justice League does.
Another
shout out for Justice League.
Well, I mean, it's just a missed
When are we
opportunity.
doing that Justice League podcast?
I don't know.
Get your votes in now.
Yeah.
Listeners, let us know.
I have one little fact. So the toy store, Fancy Goods, Parappa the Rapper. So I think you were alluding to the Dragon Ball reference, right?
No.
Oh, no. Okay, so it's
Parappa the Rapper, the PlayStation game.
Oh, right. So there's that too. So it is a magic word that's used in Dragon Ball, but the term that's on the store could be a reference to the Japanese nonsense term Papa Rappa Pop. Oh my gosh. Papa Rappa, which literally means nonsense, and it's used to make fun of someone who is talking in a foolish way, to express surprise and awe, and at least in the case of Dragon Ball, to initiate magic. And it can also mean clumsy or stupid. The hashtag Papa Rappa Twitter hashtag means, quote, having fun, quote, playing around, or, quote, acting dumb. It's a popular thing in Japanese culture, and it's often found to be the titles of songs, and it's actually titles of songs in different languages too.
So it's Parappa the Rapper. I guess I never really read it that closely. I always thought it was Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah.
It's Parappa the Rapper.
Parappa the Rapper.
Parappa the Rapper. That's not even a good. Just use the word. You've already got a word that means nonsense.
Yeah, I know, right?
I guess maybe you don't want
your character
to
mean
nonsense.
But that's what you're referring to.
That would be insane to have your rapper's name be nonsense. That would be ludicrous. How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin.
Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of
Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so sorry.
What?
Today for Kuro Kuro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we take a look at elements of Japanese culture within the episode, we're going to be talking about the Shinsengumi.
Oh.
The Shinsengumi, which means...
Well, historical police are okay.
Yes.
I mean,
we'll talk about it. The Shinsengumi, which means, quote, new select brigade or, quote, newly select corps, depending on the translation, was a special police force organized by the Tokugawa shogunate during Japan's Bakumatsu period, or the end of the Edo period from 1853 to 1867, which, if you don't know, was a very turbulent time. We'll get into it.
Goyo!
Yes.
Goyo, they would shout.
Goyo?
Goyo.
What does that mean?
That means police.
Oh, gotcha.
They would run in and say, okay, maybe I'll just shut up.
I believe you. The Shinsengumi was created in 1863 and was active until 1869, so not a very long time. They were originally founded to protect the shogunate representatives in Kyoto during a politically turbulent time. A lot of feudal lords criticized the Tokugawa shogunate for caving to demands from Commodore Perry in 1854 to open Japanese ports to the west.
Could these ports be any more open?
I was waiting for that.
Every time.
I know. There's going to be a lot more of that during this podcast, I'm sure. This was viewed as an act of weakness. Many began to rally for the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and for the emperor to be reinstated as the sole ruler of Japan. The political phrase sono joy, meaning revere the emperor, expel the barbarians, became very popular.
Huh.
Yeah.
Goyo means like arrest or capture. It's like saying, hold it right there.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm sure they said that a lot, actually.
Yeah. Goyo, slime ball. Not quite the same.
Not quite the same, but...
It wasn't me, it was Callahan. I have my rights, Callahan.
Sorry.
It's okay. Loyalists, or those who were loyal to the Japanese emperor, especially the Choshu domain, began to rebel and to assassinate shogunate supporters and representatives in Kyoto, which is where the emperor lived during the Edo period. In response, the Tokugawa shogunate formed the Roshigumi, or the Ronin Squad, in October.
Ronin Squad.
Yeah, I like that. That could be an anime. In October 1862. The Roshigumi was a squad of 234 Ronin. The squad's nominal commander was Matsudaira Katamori, who was the daimyo of the Aizu domain and the military commissioner of Kyoto. So both of those things. And their leader was Kiyokawa Hachiro, a Ronin from the Shonai domain. The Roshigumi's original mission was specifically to protect Tokugawa Iemochi, the 14th shogun, during an important trip to Kyoto to meet with the Emperor Komei. This was a big deal, as the shogun had not met with an emperor in Kyoto since the 17th century.
So this is like the shogun and the emperor are separate. You know, there's a military leader and there's a, spiritual or political leader. And
especially during when the Tokugawa were in charge, which was for a really long time, but basically during all of the feudal period and when the shogunate was ruling Japan, the shogun was more powerful than the emperor.
Yeah. The emperor was a puppet.
Yes, exactly. So that's what's still going on.
Not
here.
like a literal puppet. That would be awesome.
No, I know. But he was kind of like
sayonara.
Yeah.
He's in a like traditional Japanese.
You can already
outfit.
see it.
Yes, I can exactly. He's got a little fan.
Sensational, inspirational
Yes.
Muppetation.
And then Piggy is a geisha, of course. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big deal. Tokugawa Iemochi had been invited to discuss how Japan should enact the recent imperial edict calling for the expulsion of foreigners. And again, this is after Japan had been open for several years.
Right, like genie out of bottle.
Yep.
Not looking like he wants to go back.
No, but how do we make this happen? Are we making this happen? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And something that I think that the shogunate was, generally speaking, more open to the fact of having foreigners in the country and doing trade with the West than the emperor was.
Yeah, it's capital.
Yeah.
Trade means
that makes
more money. More
exactly.
money means more guns and swords and more control.
Right. Something that
I saw that Tom Cruise movie.
Right.
No, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Something that is important to note, the Shinsengumi were funded and commanded by the Aizu clan, because remember, the commander is part of the Aizu clan. Right. The first leader of the Aizu clan was a son of the second Tokugawa shogun, and was given a large and wealthy piece of land to rule over. And because of this, the Aizu were very loyal to the Tokugawa shogunate. I mean, that just makes sense. Kind of loosely related, I guess. Although the Roshigumi was funded by the Tokugawa shogunate, the leader Kiyokawa and others had strong loyalties to the emperor and planned to gather other Ronin in Kyoto to police the city from insurgents. So they were basically going to turn on the whole idea of the Shinsengumi. When Kiyokawa's plan was revealed in Kyoto, he commanded the Roshigumi to return to Edo. The members disbanded, and most of them returned to Edo, where they would later form the Shinchogumi under the patronage of Shonai domain. They don't really matter. There's no Wikipedia page for them. I'm assuming they're another kind of police force or patrolling sort of thing, but I have no information.
Interesting.
19 Roshigumi members, mainly from the Mito clan, remained in Kyoto and formed the Mibu Roshigumi. Initially, the Mibu Roshigumi, this is going to become a pattern. We're going to change the name of this police force that's only around for 5-6 years over and over again.
Okay.
Initially, the Mibu Roshigumi were called Miburo, or Ronin of Mibu. At the time, Mibu was a village south of Kyoto and was the place where they were stationed. Mibu Roshigumi was initially formed in 3 factions under Serizawa, the Mito group, Kondo, the Shikan group, and Tonuchi. So there were 3 different kind of co-commanders at the time. Internal strife soon developed within the group. Tonuchi was assassinated by Kondo on Yojo Bridge. Serizawa had ordered a member, Iesato Tsugo, to commit seppuku for deserting, and Negishi Yuzen also deserted and returned to Edo, where he joined the Shinchogumi, so the other group that I was talking about. Yeah, this is the kind of like...
You're out of the band.
Yeah.
I'll make my own band.
Yeah, exactly. So Matsudaira Katamori, the commander of the Miburo and the daimyo of the Aizu clan, decided that the purpose of the Mibu Roshigumi needed to be altered due to how tumultuous Kyoto was at the time. The Mibu Roshigumi shifted their focus from protecting the shogunate to safeguarding the streets of Kyoto and reinstating order in the name of the Tokugawa government. So this is when they shifted from specifically protecting the emperor to being a police force. The Mibu Roshigumi's reputation quickly tarnished as they frequently used brutality and were generally feared. The police. They gained the nickname the Wolves of Mibu.
Were they like busting crimes and stuff like that? Like at first they're like a secret service. And that now they're basically like an anti-insurgent force.
Yes.
But if you cheated somebody on a deal or something like that, or broke into somebody's house or tried to rape somebody or something like that, would they be like, whoa, all right, run this guy in, Goyo this guy?
I think
it doesn't sound like it.
Well, I think they largely were trying to figure out what the loyalists were doing and like assaulting them if they found them, or like arresting them.
Sure.
Or you know what I mean?
Yeah. So they're just literally an anti-insurgency group, because I assume that robberies and rapes and swindles were punished before this happened.
I think so, yeah.
So it's really important that we've got this crew of guys who
I
can just do
know.
whatever they want.
Called the Wolves of Mibu.
Yeah.
So that's a great nickname. You want that.
Don't tell modern American police that.
I know.
They would love that.
I know. Basically this police force.
The Japanese flag, but the sun is blue in the middle.
Oh no.
We have to burn this entire podcast.
We do. That's terrible.
Sorry, everyone.
Oh my God. So the Mibu Roshigumi needed a rebrand to bolster their reputation.
Another?
Yes. On August 18th, 1863, the Mibu Roshigumi officially became the Shinsengumi.
And then they became Jefferson Starship, and later they were just Starship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And later they were just Star. The Shinsengumi were led by Serizawa Kamo, Nimi Nishiki, and Kondo Isami. Some of those are the same names. In September 1863, the Choshu clan, who were the clan that was the most anti-Tokugawa, were forced from the imperial court by the Tokugawa, Aizu, and the Satsuma clans. The Shinsengumi were sent to aid the Aizu and guard the gates of the imperial court. So basically, make sure they got out of there. Yep. So one of the leaders, Serizawa, his behavior was erratic and disruptive. Supposedly, and I feel like this is one of those stories that there is some truth to, but I saw a couple different versions of it, and it seems like one of those things that may have gotten more fantastical as time has gone on.
Okay.
But supposedly he got into a bar fight with a sumo wrestler, which created a fight with 25 to 30 other sumo wrestlers who all belonged to the same dojo. By the end of the fight, Serizawa and the party of around 10 fellow fighters, all part of the Shinsengumi, had won, and 10 sumo wrestlers were dead, and the others were all seriously injured. This was not a lone incident.
That's like a whole sumo team.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's it.
That's how
we're not going to regionals this year.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
I know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now I'm going to present a little political commentary.
Go for it.
Social commentary. Doesn't it seem like they're just a gang?
Kind of.
Right?
With like
at some point you go,
government backing.
All right, there's a shogun who's already a military leader that runs an army, but or an emperor, and there's people that are mad at them. Now, they've got grievances. I understand. I'm not picking a side, but you're like, we got to protect the shogun or the emperor, who might be a little kid.
That's true.
Depending on how the succession works.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But now it's like, now we're just going to go out in the street, and they put one of ours in the hospital. We put two of theirs in the morgue. Yeah. That's the Kyoto way.
Yeah. Yes.
Doesn't it? Aren't they just acting like a gang? Isn't that what's just happening here?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Except they have like military power and stuff like that.
Oh, they've got military equipment? Oh, okay. That's not going to come back.
No, I know.
It's a very isolated incident.
Well, yeah, right. Exactly. There was a lot of other brutality like this. And they
Do you
did
put like ox nuts on your wagon back in the day?
What? I don't understand that reference.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Wow. So that was just one example of Serizawa's erratic behavior.
Serizawa.
Yeah.
This guy we know is coming or going.
He's one of the commanders, so this looks bad. So Matsudaira, knowing that something needed to be done, ordered the Shinsengumi to assassinate Serizawa and his group.
Oh, now they're assassins.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's a progression.
Going good.
Yeah.
Going well.
On October 19th, 1863, Nimi Nishiki, a member of the Serizawa faction, was forced by Yamanami Keisuke and Hijikata Toshizo to commit seppuku for breaking regulations. On October 30th, a few selected Shinsengumi members, led by Hijikata, who will become very important later, went into the Yagi Genojo's house and assassinated Serizawa, his lover Oume, and Hirayama Goro, with Hirama Jusuke being the only survivor who fled that night. All of this infighting led to Kondo as the lone leader at the time of the Shinsengumi.
And that's like the end of season 4.
I know. This is in 1863, and they started in 1863.
Sons of Anarchy. S-U-N-S.
Oh,
of Anarchy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to it, but there's been a lot of...
the Rising Suns.
Yes, there's been a lot of media depictions of the Shinsengumi.
Well, in Japan.
Yes, exactly. You're right. Do one over here. So one of the most infamous accounts of the Shinsengumi was the incident at the Ikedaya Inn in Kyoto. On July 8th, 1864, so this is the following year now, 30 Shinsengumi suppressed a cell of 20 Choshu revolutionaries, possibly preventing the burning of Kyoto. The incident made the squad more famous, notorious, and led to soldiers enlisting with the Shinsengumi. Mm-hmm. The loyalists to the emperor were using the Ikedaya Inn as a base for their operations. The Shinsengumi arrested one of the loyalists, Furutaka Shuntaro, and the arrest of Furutaka triggered the Ikedaya Inn incident. The Shinsengumi interrogated him to try to learn more about what the loyalists were up to. And Hijikata Toshizo, who was the guy who I mentioned before was going to become more important, he becomes one of the vice commanders, one of the co-commanders of the Shinsengumi at one point. But he's very important and has a lot of power at this point. And he allegedly was incredibly brutal to Furutaka and kind of oversaw this interrogation. And while the prisoner was unresponsive, this has supposedly never been 100% verified, but this is the story. When the prisoner was unresponsive, Hijikata was said to have suspended Furutaka by his ankles, restrained his wrists, and driven 5-inch spikes into his heels.
Huh.
Placing lit candles upon the holes, hot wax dripped deep into his calves. The prisoner eventually claimed that they planned to set fire to Kyoto and capture Matsudaira Katamori, which again is the military leader of Kyoto.
Right.
Also, he stated that a lot of people from the Choshu clan were hiding on Gion Street specifically. Kondo Isami led a group of Shinsengumi to the inn to arrest the loyalists, and a second group led by Hijikata arrived shortly thereafter. The next morning, the house of Sakamoto Ryōma, who was known to be anti-Tokugawa, was attacked. the Shinsengumi continued hunting surviving loyalist warriors with the Aizu clan. And they stayed up all night hunting, and they came back around noon with their clothes supposedly smeared in blood. 8 loyalists were killed and 23 were arrested.
Huh.
So that sort of event it has been romanticized, and it's sometimes told like in like a sentence and been like, wow, they prevented the burning of Kyoto.
Right.
And then people wanted to enlist.
When you torture people, they tell you the truth all the time.
I know.
That's what happens.
I know.
Yeah. There's, wow. I feel like I want to play Yakuza. The Yakuza series, the video game series,
yes,
has, I believe they've had previous ones, but they're going to have a period game that's coming out soon this year. Yeah, and it's set during Bakumatsu.
Oh, I'm sure the Shinsengumi are going to be a part of it.
Well, here is the pitch for it. It is you play Sakamoto Ryōma, who is distressed resulting from conflicting pressures and uncertainty about oneself and his role in society.
That's the guy I just mentioned.
Yep, being embroiled in the middle of a Tosa coup d'etat and bent on finding the murderer who assassinated his mentor, he burrows himself with a hidden identity in the streets of Kyoto, and he joins the Shinsengumi.
Oh, so he's like going undercover.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's interesting. I like that sounds really, I would like to watch you play that.
I might.
You might?
The Yakuza games are fun, but I wonder, like, without like pachinko and like naked guys trying to sell you cell phones, and
yeah,
I don't know what it'll be. I'm sure they'll find like goofy things to happen. Fight a giant lobster.
Well, I mean, the story sounds interesting. Let me just put it that way.
But anyway, yeah, apparently, and this guy, well, he had a sad end, so wonder how that'll work into the game.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe they'll write him a different ending. At its peak, the Shinsengumi had about 300 members. They were the first samurai group of the Tokugawa era to allow people from non-samurai classes, for example, farmers and merchants, join. Social status was irrelevant. Membership was mostly decided by fighting skills. The majority of the Shinsengumi were Ronin, with the rest of the squad being mostly made up of lower birth men who were very skilled at martial arts. So, I mean, that's a cool aspect of it, right? Like Japan, very hierarchical. I said that weird. Culture, but it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Join the Shinsengumi, but
apparently they weren't taking that many applicants though, because there's only 300 of these guys.
Yeah, I know. I guess you're right. I guess you have to be really good at fighting if you're not a Ronin. We only take the best.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the no pile. It's just a pile of bodies.
Oh my God! No, that's awful.
Apparently, Ryōma was, a guy who, again, having a hard time picking my side here, but
I know,
as a revolutionary and as an insurrectionist, he wanted to destroy the caste system.
Okay, that makes sense. I
that's
think that's one reason why a lot of people wanted the shogunate to be gone.
Feudalism,
yeah,
and against that. And he studied, like democratic governance, because the lines of communication are open now, right?
Right.
So, here's your scene. Matthew Perry, played by Matthew Perry, is just blowing a butt, down by the docks. And then he starts, a samurai comes up, or Ronin comes up, they start talking, and it's Ryōma. And he's learning about the United States Congress. He's learning about Parliament, and representative democracy. And he says, that sounds pretty good. Who's the bad guy here?
Yeah, I know.
Who gets shanked in a tea house here?
Oh my God.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do know what you're saying. It's hard to pick a side.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No, I'm on his side.
Well,
I'm totally on his side, 100%.
Yeah, I guess.
In fact, these guys, the Shinsengumi, are just special bodies of men armed with swords who are here to maintain the status quo.
No, you're
Sailor
absolutely
left.
right. Oh my gosh.
Debuting today.
They absolutely were there to maintain the status quo and the hierarchical system.
Yeah.
The code of the Shinsengumi was famously created by Hijikata Toshizo, and it included 5 edicts. No deviation from the samurai code, or bushido. No leaving the Shinsengumi. No raising money privately. No taking part in others' litigation. And no engaging in private fights.
And they followed all those rules.
No.
Oh.
The penalty for breaking any rule was seppuku.
Huh.
Yeah. In addition,
they're strict.
I know. In addition, this is very specific. If the leader of a unit was mortally wounded in a fight, all the members of the unit must fight and die on the spot. And even if in a fight where the death toll was high, the unit was not allowed to retrieve the bodies of the dead except the corpse of the leader of the unit.
What?
Yeah.
So they leave all men behind?
Except the leader.
Why?
I don't know. That was the rule.
It's a great organization
I
we got
know.
here.
Just a little note about Bushido, which we'll have to do sometime on Kuro Kuromiro. But
I can't believe we haven't yet.
I know. I wrote it down. But it literally means the way of the warrior. And it's a moral code concerning samurai attitudes, behavior, and lifestyles. Bushido formalized earlier samurai moral values and ethical code, and most commonly stressed a combination of sincerity, frugality, loyalty, martial arts mastery, and honor until death.
Yeah. Funny thing about that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what we exactly think of.
Yeah.
It was not, the term itself wasn't even used until after.
Is that right?
The Warring States period was over. So people
That's
think
weird.
about samurai going all the way back as being, these warrior poets with this code.
Right.
And it wasn't until, Tokugawa had wrapped the entire thing up and now had a bunch of soldiers who had no war to fight.
Yes.
Who were just hanging around and doing whatever they wanted.
Yes.
That he needed to have a code. So he's like, no, come on. You guys are samurai and there's a code that we have. So it is very much a back formation that was used to keep their people in line. That is one interpretation, but it is a popular interpretation.
Interesting.
But we have this idea of like, oh, the samurai, they're just, they have these codes, and it's like the chivalric code of like European knights.
Right.
Also very conveniently dropped whenever you needed to, kill somebody and steal their wife or something like that.
Great. Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? So Saori brings an assortment of cakes from the shop. I think I saw that it was listed as cake. I could be wrong.
Cake.
But it is considered good etiquette in Japanese culture to bring a small shareable gift or temiyage when you visit someone's home. Similar to temiyage, omiyage are gifts that you bring back after a trip. I know I've mentioned omiyage before and love to do a Kuro Kuromiro on that someday. Mamo also serves tea, and then Tiger tells Saori that she must join him for dinner. Villain Gauge, where we rate a baddie from 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The lemur in this episode is named Puko, the balloon lady. Yeah. Puko's name refers to the Japanese sound of someone blowing air, like when you blow up a balloon.
Puka puka.
Yeah. The term puto is the actual onomatopoeia for blowing air.
Oh.
Puko says poo to blow herself up. So, I mean, it's just all kind of tangentially related.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Her design. Puko is literally a lady that looks like a balloon. a balloon lady. She is large, spherical, and rubberized. She is mostly teal with a large red stripe down the middle and 4 black diamonds by each of her appendages, as well as 4 more on her back. And she has a face with purple eyes, complete with eyebrows, and she wears purple lipstick. She also has hands and feet, because that's not terrifying.
Right.
Once deflated, she returns to a more humanoid-looking form, while still made out of balloon material. In this form, she has wavy purple hair with bangs, and the balloon tie and teal section at the top of her head looks kind of like a hat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, got that going on. Then we're up to our rating. It's terrifying how Puko literally lays on Chibi and tries to suffocate her. I'm also disturbed by her saying, I swear in my version it says, not a beautiful child.
Oh, okay. Then that's what it was.
Yeah. I like that she sees Mamo and instantly falls in love with him. I like how while she is suffocating Sailor Moon, she is moved to tears that Sailor Moon is sacrificing herself for Mamo. And I like that she says, don't worry, as soon as I kill her, I'll kill you.
Oh, good.
I like that she puts a bandage over a hole that Mamo punctured her in her side, and that she uses a pump to refill herself with air.
Yeah, I mean, she can't blow herself up.
That would be too weird.
Yeah, right.
But she's like, oh, I hate this. And it's funny because like the little tie is at the top, on the top of her head, and that's where she puts it.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
So anyways, so I'm going to rate her. I think she was fun and it was creative. So I'm going to give her 4 out of 5 dark stars.
I'm going to give her a 4 too. This one got really close to 5. It's a really funny thing. I like her strong, colorful design. And I liked the fact that she has like a different form. Do you know what I mean? Like she pops up initially and you're like, oh my God, is it just a balloon lady?
Yeah.
And later on she becomes like a slimmer lady, women first, monsters second. But she can do both. And then she was attempting to return to her original form. That's her most effective form.
Yeah.
Before she died. Something that they missed, and maybe we'll have a balloon creature in the future. But if you're going to be a balloon and you're associated with a circus or clowns, it's balloon animal time. So like, what if she could like take her arm and then like, and like balloon it, twist her arm and make something out of it that would like, make a rope out of it. Or,
right.
I guess you can't cut somebody because you're a balloon, but just string somebody up or something like that.
But you could do all sorts of
things.
Just
sitting on people was effective, but it was not. It wasn't taking full advantage of the thing. They got too deep into their concept of her being a big balloon lady, and they didn't think about all of the other things they could do. That being said, though, I like everything else about her. I like her lips, and I like her bangs. She pulls off the bangs well. So yeah, solid 4 on that one.
Yeah, I thought she was very entertaining. Take a bow, or our rating the villains on how they left the stage of life. Puko looks shocked as she is frozen in place, still trying to refill herself up with air, and she yells, "Stayed out!" So for me, I feel like while it's funny that she was filling herself up with air while this happened, so she's like interrupted doing something, I feel like this is basically the same exit we've seen for the last couple of lemurs. So I'm going to just kind of give it an average score of 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that makes sense. I am going to give her a 2.
All right.
The reason being is that to whom much is given, much is expected. And she's even got little props, and she's got like an aspect where she inflates or whatever. So she could have, we've seen this before. She could have done something else, said something else. It just seems like the stage out is like the thing they've picked so that like, all right, and then we can draw the Ryōma looking scared and then they're dead. And we're not getting the kind of things we got before where the makeup lady is trying to put her face back on before she gets before she gets toasted by Sailor Moon. So we're not getting those kind of things, but we are getting some variations. And yeah, again, this was just same pose, same picture, different voice actress. So It's south of average. It's a 2 for me.
So now it's time for the rating. I love how Chibi cuts right to the chase and asks Saori about what her relationship is to Mamo, and she glares at Saori through the rest of the scene. I like how determined Chibi is to make sure that her future parents stay together. I mean, her existence depends on it, after all. And I like that she starts chanting, "Fighto, Fighto, Kobayashi." That's great, too. Honestly, the star of the episode, if this was a PGSM episode and I had to pick a Moonlight Real Girl, it would be Chibiusa. So... even though she is shown to be really immature in this episode, I do like that Usagi's confidence in her relationship and Mamo's love has, I guess, matured, and that she trusts him more. I feel like we haven't necessarily totally seen that every step of the way, but that's where we are right now. And I like how Sailor Moon throws herself in front of Mamo so she won't get suffocated by Puko. Overall, this episode was okay. And I don't hate it, but there are a lot of parts of it that I also didn't really like. I should have given last week's episode a 1, and I'm giving this one a 2 because of Chibi. This one's for you.
That's essentially my reasoning for giving it a 2 as well. Weird ep. Weird ep. And I guess if I just cut out the whole comp thing, because I don't know, it's the 90s. They don't.
We romanticize cops.
They're not thinking
in
about
the 90s,
that. They don't care.
Yeah.
So if I just ignore that, it's still a weird episode.
It is.
And I think sometimes you get points off for trying something and not succeeding at something. And I feel them trying something, but I don't know what they're doing. And so I'm sure that I didn't give a 5 to the episode with Tamasaburo, Sailor Matcha, because they were trying to do something, but it was not clear what they were doing. Yeah. And you actually were a little bit put off by what they were trying to do.
Well, I wasn't still think sure that how to read it.
Exactly. And so that's how I feel about this. I don't know what they're doing. To the point where I first of all, I just don't think the jokes really work. I don't really know.
They don't land.
They don't land. But they're definitely trying something. It isn't like we're just assuming that there's a joke where there's not. They're doing a thing. But I don't know what the thing is, and it doesn't work. But that being said, there are flashes of interesting maturity and growth in the characters. And I do like the fact that, look, all right, if you're going to have Chibi keep saying that she wants to marry Mamo or something, then let's explore that. And this episode does that. It's ugly what we find. We discover something bad. Yeah. But she's actually like thinking about like, well, not only do I like this guy, but let's be practical here. Like, if he goes off with this other girl, I'm never going to be born.
I know.
So come on, let's figure this out. Put those toys down. Let's figure this out. So yeah, she was definitely the best part of the episode. Although I did like Usagi's moment of sort of personal triumph when she's like, I don't care about what you're talking about. I'm not worried about that. I got a hippo horse question here to answer. But that is not very much to see amongst the rest of this stuff. So I'm going to give this one just a 2.
Yes.
2 roses.
My English title is Love Trusted Falters Never.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's and your lucky numbers are 4, 7, 23, and 89.
Exactly.
No, that's good.
Your Chinese word of the day is
right. Yeah. Tip. My me title is short, so we can just get out of here. It's blah enforcement.
Oh my God. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 133, Artemisu no Uwaki, Nazo no Koneko Tojo in Japanese. Artemis is cheating? Enter the mysterious kitten, the English translation, and the English title, Much Ado About Kitten.
That's not a thing. Okay, I was going to say one, but I'm saving it, so it's my title.
Go for it.
I'm not giving it away now.
No, don't.
No,
hold on. Hold on to it.
I'm way too seasoned for that. Oh my God. Here it comes.
Here what comes.
Is trading the weird sort of like skeezy vibes of what we've been running into so far, is trading that for, well, we goofing around with the new little kitty character. Is that going to be worth it? You know what? If it washes our palate of what we've been going through, I'll take it. I can never, say no flatly to this show if I haven't, experienced it. Famously, we can go back and, hear the thundering of little feet as Chibi got closer. And then I fell in love and she became one of my favorite characters. So I'm gonna put it on pause.
I see what you did
my
there.
Judgy nature, but and that's not the one. I'm saving it. But yeah, all right. Well, we'll see.
You were doing a double
long as it's
entendre,
not
right? Like pause, like PAUSE,
Did
and
you?
like
Okay,
PAWS.
So I made a joke. Then you.
I got it, and then I
you
was
got
like,
the
"Wait a
joke.
minute, he didn't react."
But I'm like, but like if you told the joke and you felt like there wasn't a big enough reaction, you'd go, I made a joke, right? But instead you're going, that I got your joke, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to check
exactly
that's what's going
happening.
on. Okay. I'm going, that I'm saying that you're saying that you got my joke.
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
All right.
Like
So
you
we
have
got it.
moved on, and
We
I'm
got
like, wait a minute. I just want to make sure
That's
you know that I
confusing.
know.
But you know what is not confusing and is so clear?
What?
It's that we need your support.
We do.
On Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Sailor Noob, you can find our Patreon where you can sign up to be a Senshi, to be on our squad, and get access to a bunch of other podcasts that we do.
Yeah.
A network within a network. We've got podcasts about other anime shows. We've got podcasts about the live-action Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon show. Great time to catch up because we have just basically entered the final chapter.
We have.
Of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. We've got, 3 or 4 episodes left, the big final episodes, and that's it. So if you want to be, contemporary and on time with us, now's the time to sign up and watch the show, obviously, listen to our recaps of it. And also Sailor Cinema, we're doing one of those actually real soon right here, talking about Japanese movies or movies with a connection to Japan and anime characters. So you can get all that at patreon.com/Sailor Noob. Sign up, become a Senshi today. And if that's too rich for your blood, you can always stop by ko-fi.com/Just Enough Trope, the name of our parent network. On coffee, you can buy us a coffee. Go drop something in the tip jar just to say thank you, just to say, like what you're doing. Talk more about weird cats.
Keep up the good work.
And their paws.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go easy on Chibi. She's got it rough.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Whatever message you want to send us, you can at ko-fi.com/Just Enough Trope.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Oh my god!